David Ross, and I'm affirmative, and this is my constructive part of the debate. My one definition that I have is the definition of freedom: the state of being free or at liberty rather than in confinement or under physical restraint. My plan is to make every online website go through privacy settings to for sure internet privacy. And the harm of internet privacy is it makes people scared to say what they actually want to say, and it stops them from being themselves. They have lots of restraints. They have lots of restrictions on what can actually be searched and brought up online. Internet privacy involves the right or mandate of personal privacy concerning the storing, repurposing, provision to third parties, and displaying of information pertaining to oneself via the internet. Risks to internet privacy. Companies are hired to watch what internet sites people visit, and they use the information, for instance, by sending advertising based on what their browsing history is. There are many ways in which people can leak out their personal information, for instance, by using social media and by sending out the bank and credit information to start up on certain internet websites. Those concerned about internet privacy often cite a number of privacy risks events that can compromise privacy, which may be encountered through internet use. Levels of privacy. People with only a casual concern of internet privacy need to achieve total anonymity. Internet users may protect their privacy through controlled disclosure of personal information. And some experts, such as Steve Rambin, a private investor specializing in internet privacy cases, believe that privacy no longer exists, saying privacy is dead. Get over it. In fact, it has been suggested that the appeal of online services is to broadcast personal information on purpose. On the other hand, in his essay, The Value of Privacy, security expert Bruce Sheiner says privacy protects us from abuse by those in power, even if we're doing nothing wrong at the time for surveillance. That's it.
It's Alan Hernandez, and this is my cross exam. Can you tell me the name of the companies that hire people to watch?
The companies that hire them to watch it, I don't have any companies down for any privacy watchers.
What about the restrictions on the websites?
Like with the restrictions that we go through to set up the privacy settings, it'll just be us like asking, like what you go on, like the privacy settings that you have on Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff is just making sure that all your stuff is confined. On Facebook, you can only let certain people see your friends, certain people see your profiles, that kind of privacy settings.
What about your plan? What was your plan again?
To make every online website go through privacy settings. So like any online website you go on, you have to set up the privacy settings to make sure you can allow who you want to see your page and all that.
Oh, okay. That's more negative constructive. The affirmative states that the federal government should somewhat censor or stop or control the censorship of the internet. That should be viewed without the federal's lens. Internet surveillance keeps us safe from any terrorist, drug activity, and illegal activities. The Privacy Act of 1974, enacted in December 31st, 1974, a United States federal law, established a code of fair information practice that governs the collection, maintenance, use, and dissemination of personally identifiable information about individuals that is maintained in systems of record by federal agency. A system of record is a group of records under the control of an agency from which information is retrieved by the name of the individual or by some identifier assigned to the individual. The Privacy Act requires that the agency gives the public notice of their system of records by publication of the Federal Register. Privacy Act prohibits the disclosure of information from a system of record absent the written consent of the subject's individual, unless the disclosure is pursuant to one of 12 statutory expectations. The Act also provides individuals with a mean by which to seek access to the amendment of their records and set forth various agency records keeping requirements. According to UKSA.com, the censorship of internet can protect people's economic interest. Some interest information can threaten people's economic interest. The internet banking fraud happens frequently. The censorship of the internet can filter a great deal of fraudulent information of the internet and enhance the supervision and control of internet banking. Due to the internet censorship, a great numbers of financial frauds, pinching, identifying thefts, credit card thefts, and many other illegal activities are prevented. Therefore, the economic loss of internet users are reduced or avoided. According to Joseph Hardward, who wrote an article, Searching the Deep Web and the Unmapped Internet, he stated that the internet we as the people use is what is known as visible, as the surface area is visible. It makes up to 4%. The other 96% is known as the deep web. The deep web is basically everything that is considered not censored by any or our governments, any government or our government. The deep web is a very scary place to be in, since most of it is comprised of child pornography, human trafficking, illegal drug deals, and even secret military base defenses. For example, the Silk Road was a booming illegal drug market which made $1.2 billion in revenue. In October 16, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the FBI, managed to stop the website, but similar sites popped up. Guns, knives, drugs can be bought in the deep web. Not only can you buy guns, you can hire a hitman to kill people. From the price of $10,000 to $200,000 depending on the status. What is known as the dark web is where all the child pornography is accessed. These websites encourage users to act on their desires towards children and post it. In 2015, child carer Shannon McGee was arrested due to running one of these sites and was recorded to physically molesting and raping a child. It's hard to regulate all these websites and prove that the deep web is a very dangerous place to search. Shutting down these websites actually proved in making it hard for criminals to operate online. According to John Carr, an internet safety expert, states that there are steps by steps in creating bombs, and believes that this is still not a myth and it's hard to track all criminal activities. The impact is that the United States citizens are not protected and that domestic terrorist attacks can happen at any time. If we reduce our internet censorship, we are leaving ourselves open to any terrorist attacks. If you have a problem with internet censorship, it's illegal to use the deep web. The internet is pretty much a privilege. And that's it.
What does that code for us do?
For what code?
Like you stated a code. What does the code do?
Code.
Like, yeah, this part of here, the code.
Code of Fair Information Practice that governs the collection, maintenance, use, and disseminations of personally identifiable information about individuals that is maintained in a system of records by federal agency.
And then you also stated that there was 12 expectations. What are those expectations?
Didn't state them.
Oh, all right. Can you break up the percentage again, the 4 and the 96? Like, what do they do?
4% for the deep web, right?
Yeah.
The 4% is the visible internet that we use, such as the easy search engines as Google, Yahoo, stuff like that. That's our search engine. That's what we use, or we use every day. That's the 4%. The other 96% is the deep web. What you have to use a special internet search engine to access that 96%.
And you also stated that it's hard to regulate all these websites. How do you guys actually like look over all the information that is brought up on the internet if it's hard to look over all the websites.
That's why it's hard, because there's tons and tons, gigabytes and terabytes just trying to search through all of them.
So does everything get looked over?
No, but they're still trying to stop these websites such as the Silk Road or stop terrorist attacks. So,
I feel that I'm winning this argument that I'm right because all the privacy settings that we have to go through to all the privacy settings that we have to go through to set up our accounts and new websites that we go on, it helps us to keep our stuff confidential. And if we can't keep it confidential and they don't know who's actually like looking over our stuff and where it goes, it's not helping us that it's just out there for anybody to see. That's it.
negative rebuttal. I pretty much think I'm winning is because well, what censorship is helping us from getting any terrorist attacks. Stops. Obviously, the Silk Road was stopped, but the Silk Road was stopped, and that proves that we can still stop and regulate illegal drug activities or illegal activities that's done on the web. That's pretty much the reason why I'm winning.
I feel like the Silk Road doesn't really help us anyway. It's just a bunch of information that's just lost and floating around. And if that information gets into the wrong hands, it can mess up a lot of people's lives and just ruin a lot of people's futures in certain ways. Like all the stuff that's lost in Silk Road that can get brought up in the future, like anything that any future president or any future like congressman, anything in their past can get brought up through that Silk Road. So I feel like that information needs to be found and like locked with the privacy settings.